Old model steamboats in poor condition. Part 11. This old model boat was originally built many years ago to be free running in the water. It is what is known as a pond launch. Over the years, times have changed, and in this episode I show how I've fitted a modern radio control system to the boat. I decided to buy a good quality radio control system for this boat, and how times have changed. This radio control system is made by a company called Futaba, and I've personally used Futaba radio for many years, and it's just what I need for the steamboat Edith. This set does not have any computer displays or any fancy gadgetry. All I need it to control on this particular steamboat is the rudder, the regulator, and the gas cut-off valve. The owner of the boat is of a great age, and he really would not appreciate a computer radio. So on with the show. This is a 6-channel transmitter, 4 channels on the sticks, then 1 channel on a switch, and channel number 6 that I'm not going to use is on a knob at the right hand side at the top. I'll switch it on and see what happens. Well, a red light comes on. I'll just have a look at the batteries. This has some batteries in, fairly spurious batteries, so I think it's been tested in the shop. And I'm going to change the batteries in the transmitter for 4 Duracell batteries. I generally use Duracell batteries because they seem to last a bit longer than some other ones, and as you can see they are AA size, they're neatly fit in the back of the transmitter, and the light comes on again, this time powered by Duracells. Before sailing this boat I will replenish all of the batteries, but just to test the system I thought I would fit the 4 batteries that I took out of the transmitter into the battery holder. Futaba Radio Control uses a different system to other companies, inasmuch that there is a small plastic lug on the plugs, unlike this one which is a high-tech plug which doesn't have one. And here's another type of plug with just 2 wires. The middle plug in this clip is a high-tech connector, as is the one on the left-hand side, but as you can see on the right-hand side it's a Futaba. If you have a look at this Futaba receiver you may notice there are some notches in the plastic body of the receiver next to the pins. And the idea of these notches is that when you use a Futaba plug, you can only put it in the right way round. But I'll be using Tower Pro servos which use high-tech plugs. But the connections are very similar. As shown in the previous clip and again here, the positive wire is always in the middle, and the negative wire is black on Futaba and brown on high-tech. The orange wire on high-tech and the white wire on Futaba is the signal lead from the receiver that tells the servo what to do. When using a radio control system, whether it's an old one or a new one, the protocols must be observed. You always turn on the transmitter first, followed by the receiver, and then when you finish using the radio system, turn the receiver off first, then the transmitter. In this clip, I've put the entire system together with the 3 servos connected up. So now when I turn on the transmitter first, followed by the receiver, you can see a little jump from the servos, and that's about it. If I turned on the receiver first, there is a possible chance that the receiver could lock to another transmitter and suddenly the servo ranges would be entirely wrong, and there is a possibility that the servos could then be damaged. So don't forget, transmitter on first, followed by receiver. When you finish sailing your boat, receiver off first, followed by the transmitter. These are Tower Pro metal geared servos. I've never had any trouble with them, and they're very powerful, as you can see by the amount of torque they generate. I'm plugging the servos into different sockets on the receiver to show what happens. The servo on the right will be used to operate the gas cut-off valve, and all the gas cut-off valve needs to be is either on or off, so an on-off switch will be fine. I always like to know what the state of the battery is in the receiver pack. In this case they will always be okay because they are effectively new batteries every time they're put into the holder. 2 or 3 years back I bought 6 of these. This is called a volt watch, and it tells you what the state of your battery pack is. The hard part of this installation is going to be figuring out the layout of the servos. The vintage metal hull steamboat has never had radio control in it before, and I want to do it in such a way that it's not invasive. So I intend to put these 3 servos very close together in a robust mahogany box that will be bolted underneath the stern part of the deck. The left-hand servo will operate the regulator, the servo in the middle will operate the rudder, and the servo on the right-hand side will operate the gas cut-off valve. And I should be able to do this, I think, without enlarging the hatch. This is a restoration rebuild, it's not a new boat. It would be very easy to get an angle grinder and take out a big chunk of the deck, but that's not how the boat was built, and I want to retain its original character. In this clip I'm using my steel ruler just to figure out how big the box needs to be to hold 3 servos and maybe the battery or possibly the receiver. When I set the engine in the boat, I realised that the regulator was facing the wrong way, so I turned it round, and this made the displacement lubricator much more accessible, and the operating arm of the regulator is now in line with the operating arm of the servo. A very kind viewer brought me some really good mahogany, and he was telling me that this mahogany was cut from the window frames that had been in his father's house for about 50 years, and apart from some rot at the bottom of the window frames, the rest of the mahogany was in really good condition. So here I am working with this mahogany, and I'm going to make a box. This is very experimental. It may not work out, it may be a total disaster, but I have to start somewhere. I'm starting by sticking the pieces of mahogany together that I've cut on the bandsaw with some cyanoacrylate adhesive. And I've just realised that I'm running very low on this stuff. I need to buy another bottle or two. Making a box is a very simple job, but it can go horrendously wrong. You need to make sure that everything is square to start with, and then it should be plain sailing. This cyanoacrylate adhesive, also known as CA glue or super glue, grabs very quickly, but it still takes a while to set properly, so I'm putting a weight on top of the piece of wood by way of the hammer that lives under the bench. And now I'm going to go make a cup of tea and leave this for about an hour and a half to set. Now that the 4 pieces of mahogany are securely bonded together, it's time to put the base in place. And the base is also going to be made out of these quite thick pieces of mahogany. There's a couple of reasons for this. One is heat insulation, because when the boat is in steam it's going to get quite hot inside the hull. And that's why this radio compartment is going to be fitted into the stern area, which is going to be the coolest part of the boat. And the other reason is, even though this is a very large boat, by the time all of the components are in the boat, there isn't going to be much space. So I need to take advantage of the space available, and that's another reason why this radio compartment is going to be fitted into the stern area of the boat. I put the hammer back in place just as a weight to hold everything together, and when the cyano had cured, I cleaned up the box using the belt sander, and now it looks like this. And if my measurements are correct, the 3 servos should fit inside this box. And thankfully this is the case, 3 servos side by side, but I need to put internal mounts in there because the middle servo needs to be higher than the 2 outer ones. The servo in the centre of the box is going to operate the rudder, and the servos at each side will be used to operate the regulator and the gas cutoff valve. In this clip I'm carefully using a pen whilst holding the servo in position so that the 2 side servos sit at the correct height. There is another reason why I'm making this radio box out of such thick wood, because it needs shaping to fit in the stern area. So the general idea is, here is the box that fits under the deck in the stern area. The centre servo is going to be a bit higher, and that's why when everything is fixed in place, the control arm of the centre servo will be above the deck, and this is going to be concealed by the small green cover. The internal servo mountings at the rear of the box are quite simple, but the one in the middle needs to be removable, so I had to cut out this shape. I'm cutting this special shape out of a piece of mahogany. This is not going to be used in the boat, it's just a template. And this template that's cut out of a piece of solid mahogany may look okay, but it's not strong enough and it's probably going to be prone to warping. You will see now why this has to be removable, because the servo wire gets in the way. And also I need to cut a slot in the template to accommodate the wire that controls the centre servo. So now, as you can see, this template is quite complicated and it's very fragile, but provided I don't put too much pressure on it, it will be okay as a template. I mark the position where the second mount's going to fit whilst holding it in place on the servos. Then I drill 2 corresponding holes in the bottom of the box. When I looked at the template, I realised that it could be slightly stronger than this, so I added a couple of pieces, as you can see here, and then, shock horror, I realised I did not have any 1/2-inch plywood in the workshop. But I had a few pieces of 4mm ply, so what I did was I laminated them together, as you can see here. And the adhesive I use for the lamination is of course cyanoacrylate adhesive, or CA glue or super glue. These spring clamps held the pieces together until the glue set. Then I cut out the shape on the bandsaw and cleaned it up on the belt sander. In this clip what you can't see is that I'm holding the piece of plywood in place with my other hand, with a servo as well. and now I'm drilling holes as pilot holes so that when I put screws in there, it doesn't split the plywood. This camera angle from the other side shows clearly what I'm doing. In this clip, all of the servos are in position. So what was wrong with the nice piece of mahogany? Well, this is what was wrong with it. Look, it's very easy to break apart. Too easy, in fact. And I didn't want to risk a servo coming loose whilst the boat was sailing on a lake. It's not all bad though. These pieces will be really good for lighting the fire in my steam locomotive. This radio box is a make-it-up-as-you-go prototype, and what I'm not showing in this video is how many times I went over to the boat and tried it in position. And it's just as well really, because I did realise that there wasn't any room in there for the battery. Well, that's not strictly true. The battery and the receiver fitted perfectly in this box, but with the box in the correct position in the hull, I couldn't get the battery in and out of the box, so the radio compartment needs an extension. And in this clip, I'm sticking the extension to the main box using a combination of PVA glue and cyanoacrylate adhesive, because I don't want the battery box to fall off. And now that's not going to happen. The combined strength of the PVA adhesive and the cyanoacrylate adhesive makes the joint stronger than the wood itself. Not forgetting to first drill a hole for the wire from the battery box to go to the receiver, I'm now cleaning up the wooden box with a piece of sandpaper. Here is a completed radio box. It could have been a lot simpler, but I would have had to cut a much bigger hole in the boat. As I frequently say in these videos, I try and carry out sympathetic restorations without being too invasive and cannibalizing the original boat. The linkage to the rudder has to run externally, so it will be visible, but not too visible because most of the servo's operations will be hidden inside that little green box that sits on the deck. What I'm doing at the moment is spraying the part with many coats of grey primer. This radio box needs to be fully waterproof. I think I gave it about 6 coats in total. This small part was fairly tricky to paint. It kept getting blown over, but never mind, I got it right in the end. Time for another coat on the radio box. The mahogany that I've used to make this radio box was kindly given to me by a viewer, and it's really good stuff. It's very well seasoned wood, and it's soaking up this paint like 50-year-old mahogany. And that's about it for now. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my main Steam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.